Greetings, brothers and sisters. Just a little intro here. I got a bunch of stuff to get to. My new normal fare. Um, but I want to talk about how bad YouTube and Google suck right now. Like they can't even get out of their own way. Um, just a real bummer for me. I was working on an ad maybe 5 months ago, and then like with all these things, if I don't get it completed right away, it just sits there, like the merch and like the membership and all these other things. But yesterday I finished it and I contacted YouTube. Let me show you the ad first, and I'll go back to the story here. When the system you're 100% dependent on collapses, you can get scared, you can whine, you can worry, you can mope, or you can laugh. Please join me at Pockets of the Future and Apocalypse Now. So this is a non-skippable 15-second ad that I put together, whatever it was, like I said, 5-6 months ago. And the reason for it is, there's a couple of reasons, but right now the main reason is my two channels are, in a sense, dying and are unsustainable because YouTube has changed its monetization policies in some way that I don't think anybody understands or can explain. But people who are creators, and this isn't just for truthers or any specific YouTuber, aren't making as much money on ad revenue. Either there's less advertisements or they're paying less money to creators, YouTube is, or they're charging less money for their ads. Whatever the reason is, it's gone down significantly. And my channels have been stagnant since YouTube changed their algorithms to prejudice against channels like mine. And so I don't get a lot of new viewers and not a lot of new subscribers. And my video views have declined a little bit, slowly, like a slow drip over the past, whatever it is. Like I don't pay much attention to it, but that's added to the problem. So, I started the membership aspect of the channel, which is going good, but it's, I couldn't support myself on the 100 or so members. It's like 90 something members that are a part of it. I would need 400 or 500 members or more. And so going to a situation where I would have, like a paywall up, I wouldn't be able to sustain this economically, this channel. And there wouldn't be any growth. I don't want to go to another platform and, all the things. It just is going backwards and not forwards. I still want to make videos, but, there's issues here, financial issues, and just, it's a decline. Anything that's in decline is hard to be a part of, right? It's hard to get motivated when you're going in the wrong direction, right? As a business or anything else. And so, I don't focus on numbers so much, but it is important. And I feel like I need around 20,000 viewers per day. Subscribers aren't really all that important. You can have 1 million subscribers and have 1,000 views per day, right? It's my daily viewership on both channels. I'm getting about 3,000 or 4,000 views on my videos or whatever it is on my big day, and then maybe less than that, obviously, on my short video day. So it's just not enough. So I need to get the viewership up to at least 10,000. 10,000, 20,000 would be good, and 50,000 would be kind of ideal. 50,000 people in America is like less than 1,000th of a percent. So, that's not that much, right? There's at least 50,000 people out there that would be into what I do here. Probably many more, but in terms of just the amount of people that I would eventually reach, whatever it is. But my channel is not growing. YouTube is in decline, and YouTube is self-sabotaging, and they have been ever since. Well, there's multiple problems with YouTube and social media now, all the big social media platforms. But when they start to exclude truthers, which make up a very energized fan base that is very active in the viewership and alternative media, and so when they started to exclude and prejudice against us as a group, they were cutting their own throats because we're a big part of what's made YouTube and these other platforms what they are. People are looking to spread information that isn't in line with the official story. People are looking for information that isn't the official story or confronts the official story, whether it's true or not, whether it's what quality it is, what you're leaning left or right, whatever your perception is, whatever your cognitive abilities are. People are looking for something outside the official story because people have turned off the major news networks and all the indoctrination on a widespread level. Like it's well over half the population. In fact, they have a very small amount of the population that watches mainstream media, and everybody who watches it, doesn't trust it either. So it's dead and it's dying because young people want no part of it. And so when these big social media platforms started to prejudice towards mainstream, what YouTube called authoritarian news, they were cutting their own throats financially, energy level, enthusiasm, and they were pissing people off. And it's caused people to fragment and go to these much smaller platforms. And, again, that's not really, doesn't really work for me, but it's something that's happened, throughout the, internet now. We have big, dying, financially insolvent corporations in a financially insolvent economic system, right? It's getting very apocalyptic out there, apocalyptic. But for my own personal whatever, I thought the only way for me to move forward was to take out ads on YouTube and see how that worked, right? Because if financially it works for me, and I don't know if it will, where I am able to generate more viewership and more income via ads and members or whatever else, merch sales, and through the, customer acquisition costs, right? Basically was what this would be under, then, it would be worth it for me. And I have to see if that would be something that works. I at least have to give it a try. So I finished my video, right? This ad that I just showed you is really basically done. I just had to put a new picture in. I like the voiceover was fine from before. And so I just I wanted to make the lettering bigger. Some professional artist who designs t-shirts had commented that it was hard to read the text on that shirt, and I never got around to fit. I have to fix that as well. But anyways, so I started to fill out the form. I watched a YouTube video on how to get your ad up, and I had to go to Google Ads, and I started to fill it out, and I came to categories of people, the demographics, where to focus my ad. And there really wasn't anything that represented my channel. And so there was nothing about alternative media, truthers. I didn't search conspiracy theorists, but I don't think that would have even generated anything. And so there was no category for us at all. So in terms of getting this out in front of other truthers, that wasn't going to happen because they don't have a category for us. So I looked for spirituality and God. I searched God, and they didn't have a keyword or a term. They didn't have anything, in terms of God, right? And spirituality, I didn't search religion, but, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to get in front of religious people. And so the idea of spirituality and God, and some of these other words I searched, they didn't have anything, right? They just had very, sheeple-like terms. Now, part of this is because they have companies, right, that are coming to them. It's mainly for companies, and people are trying to sell you things. And so, but they don't really have a way to access our audience, our demographic here. They don't have a category for people, and it's a pretty broad category of different people, but they don't have it, right? Nothing to do with alternative media, nothing. There's lots of people who would like to market to our group specifically, but there was nothing. So that sucks. So I had the option to call the Google Ads, and the first message was, is this just about Google Ads? Like nothing else, nothing to do with any other aspect of Google, nothing to do with YouTube, because you can't read, if you have a problem with YouTube, it's very hard to find somebody to help you with the problem, find a human being. And it's, extraordinarily difficult to just find the numbers that you need and then to get in contact with them. They don't have a number, they don't have a way to help you. And so they had a screener that made sure that I was actually looking to advertise with Google. And then they sent me to what I believe to be a young woman who turned out turned out to be from the Philippines, right? And she said, well, I want to take about a half hour of your time. The reason I knew she was from the Philippines, I was trying to describe the truth community to her. And I said, what country are you from? Because I knew that she wasn't from America. And she paused for a while and said, an island near the Philippines. So I don't even know what that means. But I said, well, in America we have this thing called, truthers or whatever. And I'm trying to, use that as a demographic. So it started off with her going through a bunch of the questions I already asked and filled out on the form. She was trying to get a perspective. She was asking me how many, subscribers I wanted to get from whatever was going on. I said, I don't know, 5,000 a month. I don't know what it was, right? I'm like, well, it might as well be 20,000. And then she came back, well, you're going to need to spend like $10,000 a month for this many. I'm like, well, I'm not going to, why did you just ask me what my budget was, right? And, just like it was we're filling out a sales, she was reading from a script, which for me, I would like to talk to an expert, but she wasn't that, right? She wasn't somebody who was aware of, what goes on in the truth community and the things that I would need for my ad and, the demographics I want to focus on, any of these things, right? And she asked me, most people who run ads for a YouTube channel wanted to go to a specific video. And I said, well, I'd rather have it just go to my channel because my videos are, they get dated after a while because, I'm covering current events. And, my videos don't speak to all the different things that I talk about on my YouTube channel. Like I have a wide variety of subjects and things I cover. It'd be better if people came just to my YouTube channel. So she put me on hold and she went to talk to her supervisor. And part of that came from a misunderstanding because I'd already made the ad, right? And so then I said, no, I have an ad video I want to run. And she was like, oh. And so this was like the first 20 or so minutes was a waste of time. And when she came back, she said, you really want to run ads on Google search. And she started to give me all the data about Google search and how great it was. And I was like, I don't want any part of Google search, right? Like, no, I want to run a YouTube ad on YouTube to bring people to my YouTube channel. And she was like, well, wait, hear me out. And I was getting aggravated because she's wasting my time. And my wife and I were going to do something together. And now it's, it's going past the half hour that she promised me it would take. And we're nowhere near the end of it. And now she's trying to sell me something I don't want. And when you're selling something to somebody and you have to say, well, hear me out, and it's getting argumentative, then you've lost perspective of what your job is and what you're supposed to do. And you're not listening to the person, not realizing what they want. And again, I would have liked to talk to an expert, but this person wasn't an expert. They're a script reader. They read from a script, and they don't, have any wiggle room or ability to adapt and deal with something new or different. And when that happens, which happens to me all the time, like every time I call AT&T, it ends up with me, being completely disrespectful and getting frustrated, and telling the people how bad they suck and their company sucks. So, we're headed in that direction, right? So finally she comes back and apologizes, goes, I wasn't trying to push Google search. And I'm like, well, you were. And I'm like, you weren't listening. I'm like, your job is to, I told you like 3 times, no, I don't want to do that. And you kept on pushing it, right? For God knows what reason. And so she watched the ad and we kind of went through the demographics thing. And, I focused more on Hollywood and comedy and things, that I do here or whatever. But, I'm not happy with the way that all turned out. And so now I'm frustrated. My wife's waiting for me and I'm just, my energy's low and I'm bummed and I'm, and I'm like, I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to go well. And I feel like now it's probably going to be just a waste of money. And so then they wanted me to fill out some form or agree to something. It's not a contract, but it is whatever it is. And I said, look, I want an easy ability to end this ad campaign if it doesn't work, right? She said you have to give it 3 months so that we can tweak it and things. And someone's going to call you, or someone who's an expert's going to call you after a while, and they're going to help you, hone your play, whatever it is, right? And so, I don't have much faith in it based in this, incompetent interaction I'm having with this person. But I'm like, I just want to be able to do it easily, because usually it's very hard. Like, it's, if you sign in to like Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of these, HBO Max or whatever it is, if you sign into these accounts, it's hard to find how you unsign your, like, into your TV or whatever. They make it really hard to find the exit button. Like, everything's hidden now, and I'm like, I don't want to. This was hard enough, and I'm giving them money. But when I want to stop giving them money, they're going to make it a lot harder, right? Because that's what they do. And so I just want to make sure that I can easily do this. And she said, yeah, but of course she's lying. So I don't know why I'm even bother asking her, right? But anyways, I accept the terms that she sends me, and I fill out the rest of the form, and I'm done. And Google Pay has my credit card on file. Google has, all these, Apple and Google, you put a credit card in there. And so they asked me if I want to pay with a credit card. I was hoping to pay through the money that I make through YouTube and just whatever, but I'm like, all right, fine. I'll use this credit card. And she's like, well, and I'm still on the phone with her, and I'm doing two things at once. And I get that all done. I get the thing done with her, and I'm trying to get off, and she said, oh, your account got flagged, and you have to file an appeal. And I was like, what? Because of suspicious payment or something. And I'm like, this is clearly my account. It's coming from my Google Pay account, and I'm taking out an ad for my YouTube channel that's associated with my everything. It's my email address and it's all tied together. And so there's nothing suspicious about it. I'm paying with a card that, has my name on it, that's from me, all these things from my YouTube channel. And they're all connected, right? I'm like, what? Like, it hasn't even run an ad yet, right? And then I have to fill out an appeal to get them to look at the situation. I'm like low energy now, and I'm just like, I want to call the whole thing off, right? I'm like, it's just nothing about this is screaming success to me, right? And it's just so dysfunctional, and the whole thing, when I search Google now, I get so many times they think I'm a robot, and I have to fill out that whole robot form. And I'd rather use Google because it's familiar to me, but like, I've used other search engines because I'm just getting tired of doing the robot. They have a robot thing at the end of this thing, right? I'm filling out the appeal, and they're asking me if I'm a robot, and I have to go and the whole thing just is annoying and unbelievably unproductive. And so here's the email that I got from them. Let me see. I gotta find it here. Your account is suspended. Like, I never ran one ad. Like, nothing happened on it, right? Your Google Ads account has been suspended because we've identified suspicious behavior in the payment activity of your account. As a result, your ads no longer will run on Google or our partner websites, and you can't create any new accounts. If you believe your account is suspended in error, submit an appeal and explain why. If you are viewing this email on desktop, the appeal form may load on Google Ads Accounts Quick Help Panel. There's no reason to. We only reactivate accounts where there's a good reason. Take the time to be detailed, honest, and accurate in your appeal. Learn more about why we suspend accounts and the reason we take these actions. Thanks to the Google's ad team. Well, I'm trying to give you money, and the money that I'm giving you is hopefully going to bring in more viewership and more activity to your YouTube. I'm paying Google Ads, plus I'm helping YouTube by doing that, right? More viewers coming to my channel. And, the viewers that come to my channel, there's people who just watch they are so sick of YouTube. There's people who leave comments saying, you're the only reason I still come to YouTube, right? They watch people on other platforms. And so it's just a win-win for Google. I'm using a card that's associated with my Google account, right? And I mean, like everything I said, there's nothing suspicious about it. I went through a frustrating interaction with this woman from a foreign country who's, supposed to be helping me increase my viewership on my channel. And she's clueless about the demographics, my channel, my everything, right? And she's reading from a script, and she's pushing something I don't want, and not understanding, I have a clear idea of what I wanted, and it was very hard to convey that to her, and it took probably an hour or more when she said it was going to take a half hour. And then when I was all done with that, they blocked my account, and it's like they've been like community guidelines thing for giving them money. Like they're blocking me from giving them money. With their dying, platforms and, their dying brand. I mean, it's all sucky. It's embarrassing, right? It's just everything's about it's embarrassing. I didn't leave feeling positive about it. Like even if my account gets restored, I don't have any faith that the ad's going to run in a way that's going to help me grow the channel. My subscribers have stayed pretty much the same on both channels. They're growing a little bit more on Apocalypse now. And subscribers aren't as important as viewership, and that's in decline as well. And the ad revenue is in decline. So it's a dying business, like in terms of my channel's a dying business, and Google and YouTube's a dying business. Again, I don't want any suggestions from you. I don't need them. I already understand what my other options are. Like people come and say, well, you should do this or that. And, that's not why I'm saying all this, right? Go to Rumble. I don't want to go to Rumble. It's way less views, less access to people. And it would mean I'd still have to keep my YouTube account and try to drive people from YouTube over to Rumble. And I have no interest in doing that, right? Like if I could switch, if Rumble was as big of a platform as YouTube, that'd be fine. But I wouldn't have access to a lot of different demographics of people that come to my channel. I'm not, or any of these other platforms. Like that's not really an option for me. And so please, I'm not looking for advice or any of these things. I'm just telling you what's happening here. Like I'm already getting frustrated. Like it's just the beginning of a new day. I felt pretty good about it, but now I'm already getting frustrated. But, even if they do run the ads, I don't have faith in them or their business model or their decision-making process and any of it. And clearly, if they're excluding people who are looking for God as a demographic or looking for, alternative media, they don't even want to acknowledge that as one of their demographics, then they're screwed. They've screwed themselves and they've screwed all of us. And, we'll see how it goes. So, and again, there's my ad. You guys have seen it or not. And it might run or not, and we'll see. I just don't have a lot of energy for these things. Like once I get frustrated, it's like, I just want to go back and make content. And, I give it a good college try and whatever. I don't really want to talk to anybody over there again, but maybe I do because I've submitted my appeal. But we'll see what happens. In fact, I'm going to call them right now, and then I'll get back to you guys and tell you how that went.
Google's online advertising service to help you reach new customers and grow your business. Our team of experts is here to help you set up your account. Para español, presiona 2.
Yeah, that's a lie.
And just so you're aware, your call may be monitored or recorded for quality and training, subject to our privacy policy. Now, since this line is just for ads, I can only put you through to an ad specialist, and they can only talk to you about ads. So if you're calling about anything else, you'll want to save yourself some time and start getting help in the right place. So did you want the ad specialist or help with something else?
Ad specialist.
Great. Hold on while I get you to an expert. Okay. Please enter your 10-digit code review. We found your account to be in violation of our terms and conditions, so it's been suspended, and your ads will no longer run on Google. According to our terms and conditions, which you agreed to when you signed up for Google Ads, Google reserves the right to disable any ads when deemed necessary. You can appeal this decision by emailing us or through our online help center at google.com/ads/help. That's google.com/ads.
Okay, so they hung up on me. They won't talk to me at all now. Even though, so maybe the ad that I sent them, they flagged because, you've seen the ad. So it's possible they're reacting to the ad and they're just making it about my payment, right? I mean, there's no way to tell, but there should be nothing suspicious in the payment. They said it can take up to 5 days for them to review it, right? And now I can't talk to anybody because they're all script readers. They can't do anything anyway. I'm going to call again. I won't put in my account number, and we'll see what happens with that. I'm going to go eat lunch first because it is already draining. But it's just so ridiculous, right? Like, so let me put this audio up, and then I'll start this process again after I eat lunch. Okay, so I'm back. This is probably going to be my video today because I'm getting drained already. We'll see what happens. I might have more stuff to cover, but I just ate lunch, and I am able to stay balanced. I mean, through doing the meditation that I do, Sajmarg meditation, the Gratefulness meditation, and the cleaning process, and just not getting myself into situations where I get emotionally invested in something, dealing with people who suck, and whatever it is, right? Sometimes I'm forced into those situations, and just the stupidity, and it's like sitting through a traffic jam on the internet. And so I left out some details. So first I had 2 numbers from yesterday. There was a number that they had on the Google Ads website when I was filling out the form. They had a number where you could call somebody and talk to somebody, a sales representative. And again, they want you to talk to somebody who's a sales representative. You can't find somebody else to do with YouTube or do with Google or any number of issues. You have to go through their automated system, and talking to a human person is almost impossible. But they have human people available for this because they're making money on it, right? And so I went through the initial phase. I called this 1-800 number, and then they sent me to a sales representative. They had like a call screener, and then they sent me to this girl that was from the Philippines. And at some point they flagged my credit card. That's what she said. There was a payment issue, and that's what it says officially. And she said, you have to fill out the form. And I said, okay, I'll do that. I'll fill it out and I'll submit it, right? Which they're saying it takes 5 days to review, and maybe they'll pass it through, but it's just aggravating. It's no way to treat a customer. And so, and they're getting their feedback here. You're not going to listen to this, but you guys all know how bad they suck now. And so this morning I called that second number because at some point I hung up on the girl because she was, was trying to force, I forgot that part. So she was trying to force feed me on Google search, doing ads on Google search. I said, I don't want to do ads on Google search because I know Google search has gamed their algorithms to give truthers content that you don't want, which you guys all know. You search for truther content and they give you authoritarian news. They give you CNN and MSNBC when you want people like me or people like you, and you're looking for that content, right? And they give you some content you don't want because they've gamed their algorithms to do that. And so my audience isn't going to, I won't get access to an audience through Google search because they've screwed it, right? They've made it, so our demographic is excluded, right? It's prejudicial. It's not racism because we're not a race, but it's along those lines, right? They're prejudicing us for our beliefs, which we know and have known. And so I said, I kept on saying, no, I don't want to do that. She wouldn't listen, so I hung up. She calls me back. And at the end of the call, there was this, but I had a different number now because she's called to me, right? So I called that number first, and they hung up right away. They didn't say why. They said, all right, we're going to get you to a representative. And then they came back and said, sorry, we couldn't connect your call. Click. Right? So I called the second number, and I gave them my, my account number. And now they've said, okay, your account's suspended. We don't want to talk to you, even though you want to give us money. And again, like that's, I can't talk to anybody there. So I just have to go through this process. And I've already filled out the form, and I was so frustrated and so tired. I didn't do a good job on submitting the appeal because, I thought whatever, they would just, they should understand the credit card associated with me and the whole thing. And so there's that, right? And so I'm dead to them, right? They don't want my money. They don't want, well, whatever's going on here, right? They don't want my business. But I'm going to call them one more time just because now, and I don't usually do stuff like this, but it's kind of interesting. And I'm going to call them, and I'm not going to give them my account number, and then I'm going to talk to an actual person, hopefully, and then we'll see what happens from there.
To direct you to the right resource, may I have your name, please?
Paul Romano.
Paul, are you calling about Google Ads?
Yes.
Okay. In order for me to assign you to the right team, I have to spend 3 to 5 minutes with you first to collect all important information before directing you to the team that will help you.
Well, I think
of your business.
I think I can save us both some time. So I signed up for Google Ads yesterday, and I am running ads through my YouTube channel, which I've had since 2007, and I have had a Google account since 2006 or 5 or whatever it was, even longer perhaps. And I was using my card that's on Google Pay, that's associated with Google Pay, to pay for the ads, and they flagged it for suspicious payment, which was ridiculous since it's associated with my name and all these things, my account forever and my YouTube channel. And so there'd be no reason for them to flag the account. And now I filled out the form, but I'd like to talk to somebody because this should be easily resolved. I'd like to talk to a human person. I don't think this is gonna. I don't know why the bots or the AI would flag this as a suspicious payment. I could easily prove that.
In that case, can you just please provide to me your 10-digit customer ID so I can take a look what happened to your account?
Yes, go ahead. Okay, so she comes back here and says to me, I give her my number, and then she puts me on hold, and then she pulls up my account and says, your account's been suspended. And then I respond with this. Yeah, because of the payment. I mean, I suspended. I just signed up for. I'm trying to give you guys.
Well, just to be transparent with you, for the suspended account, the only thing we do right now is to file an appeal. Did you already file an appeal for this one?
Oh, yes, I was talking to an agent yesterday to help me sign up for the account. I don't know why you guys I can't talk to somebody and get it unsuspended. It doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to give you money as well as promote your platform, YouTube, through my ads. And so it's beneficial to you. And again, I've had this credit card associated on Google Pay forever. It has my name on it.
I am so sorry with regards to your situation. However, for the suspended account, the only thing we do first is to file an appeal. That is the only way for your account to be unsuspended. So can you just please provide to me your email so I can send you the appeal link form?
I've already filled out the appeal.
All right, then just wait for 3 to 5 business days. Someone will get right back to you with regards to your suspension account because it has to be investigated first, okay? Thank you so much for calling Google Ads. You have a nice day.
Who investigates it? Like, how does the process work? She hung up on me. So there you have it. She hung up on me, right? Like, just rudely. And again, I was talking to an ad specialist yesterday. When she realized my account was flagged, she told me to fill out the appeal. And then I don't know what would happen next. We'll see what happens. Either they might review it. They have to investigate it, right? But just dysfunctional because I am an unsatisfied customer on all levels now. This is a horrible partnership at this point, right? For me and with them because it's dysfunctional and semi-abusive, right? Because they're prejudicing against our demographic, a group of, people that have more or less built, at least contribute in building this platform to what it is. Alternative media and all these things, right? They're prejudiced against us, treat us poorly. And now they've reduced their revenues, making it really hard for people to make money on YouTube videos. And so they're already in decline. There's other platforms popping up left and right. People are moving away from YouTube as it is, not just truthers, but people in general. And I was hoping to move past the way they screwed me, because they screwed me through not promoting my channel, not sending out notifications to my viewers who want to watch my content. I mean, all kinds of ways that they've been difficult, and now they're paying less money. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll invest some of my money into bringing people in. YouTube is supposed to bring people to my channel. Like, that's part of their job, right? It's part of their job to bring new people to my channel. It's part of the platform, but they don't do that anymore. And then they don't notify the people who want to watch videos, and they unsubscribe people who want to watch the videos as well. So it's, not a positive situation. So now I want to give them more money and more effort on my part to make this thing work. And they flag it for whatever reason. And then instead of having human people make the decision and look at my credit card and see that's associated with, I assume it'd be easy for them to see, and that this, it's not some stranger trying to run ads on my promote my own channel, whatever it is, some stranger or bot trying to promote my channel. I was talking to somebody who clearly saw I was a human person because I hung up on him and got aggravated with him, with her, right? And so this is how bad it is over there. I mean, they're self-sabotaging. They're imploding. Like, they've lost control of their AI. They've lost control of their, platform. They've caved to these. I mean, they're a part of this system anyway, so they've caved to all these people pushing, discriminating against us as people who don't agree with the official story, and, all the rest of it, right? And, I hope that they review my thing and allow me to run ads just so I can experience this, because I don't have much faith in it working, but we'll see. And we'll see how it goes, but my God, right? It's horrible. I do want to check in with the Fettermans and Jen Psaki and a few other little things. Hillary, somebody sent me something. So I got a few other things to get to. But this one more thing here with this thing that happened. And so this is what they say here. If we detect suspicious or fraudulent payment activity on your account, we may restrict how much the account can spend or suspend the account entirely. And so it's so effed up that that's what happened. Like I said, it's, my credit card that they recommended to me, right? When they said payment method, when I got to the payment method, so how am I going to pay for the ads? And they put in my credit card number. They volunteered the credit card, my credit card that I have on their account. It's the card they recommended I use. Right? Like, think about how effed up that is. They're like, oh, you should pay with this one because it's associated with your Google Pay. We recognize this is your card. We recognize who you are, and we want you to use the card that you already have on file with us. And then they say, hey, this card's suspicious, right? The whole thing is effed up. So I went through my comments. A lot of people had favorable reviews of the ad. And again, it's, I got as much in as I could in 15 seconds. So, I don't know what to say. Maybe people can share the ad on its own. I don't know how it'll work or not. I'd like to see the response to the ad itself, because I don't know how it'll play with other people. But again, I'm limited in my abilities. I don't have some marketing training or something like that. But anyways, let's get into the other stuff here, because why the hell not, right? Okay, so let's go to Giselle Barato J. Fetterman. Burrito. This is, I guess, a new thing. I present you with Grace's brilliant chemistry presentation. Okay, that's not what I want to show you. I don't know what this is. Some sort of ad or associated with her. Please trust me when I say that late is always better than never. Very grateful the boys have the opportunity to redo on the much anticipated birthday celebration. So here they are celebrating his birthday. There's one of his kids. It's a combination of this ogre and is the witch he married. And so this is 4 months after his birthday. Let's just check what his birthday is. Fetterman checked into the Walter Reed Medical Center for Clinical Depression Treatment on 15th of February, which was the day of his son's 14th birthday and marked a week after his having been briefed and hospitalized for being lightheaded. And so he has been away from his family for all that time, and they finally got around to celebrating his son's birthday. Today is May 23rd. So it's 3 months late, what she says here. So that happened, right? This is how dysfunctional this guy is. He showed up in his work clothing. This is how dysfunctional he is, right? Like, he can't even celebrate his son's birthday within 3 months because of, being depressed and being in a mental institution. Okay, so let me restate this, because if somebody is having mental issues, breaking down, physically breaking down, again, your job isn't as important. I mean, of course, your job is important to keep you from being homeless, whatever, right? You have to assess everything, but if you need help, you need help. I worked in the mental health field. I was a counselor working with the DSM-5, and I know about these institutions, and I don't believe that they're helpful, and I don't believe that they're the solution, right? I don't believe that they're helpful, right? But, everyone's got to figure out what they need. I don't think that, the pharmaceutical drugs would work for me. I know they wouldn't work for me. And, each person has to find their way to regain sanity in an insane world, right? We're all messed up from the system. So I don't begrudge somebody from, breaking down mentally, right? If they do it, they do it. But, the promoting the consciousness of victim consciousness and the consciousness of brokenness, promoting brokenness and being okay. It's okay to be broken. It's okay to be a victim, instead of addressing this dysfunctional system we all live in that's causing people to be broken and causing all these things, is a real issue. But in Fetterman's case, it's fine if he's recovering from a stroke and he's battled depression his whole life and he's mentally incompetent, for him to go to one of these institutions. But he went on his kid's birthday. Like, he couldn't tough it out long enough to, what does this kid think? Oh, my dad's going to a mental institution on my birthday, right? That's just weak, right? But if you're, in that desperate a state, and this guy is, he can't articulate anything. He can't understand when other people are talking to him. He's confused. He's said it himself. He got lost walking around D.C. He's having physical and mental breakdown. And he wasn't great beforehand. He was no rocket scientist. He was no, rock star, brilliant politician. He can't do his job. And his job's kind of important. He's a senator, one of 50, right? In a swing state, very important state in the presidential election, these other things. And he can't do his job. He can't do it because he checked himself into a mental institution. He can't do it because he, shows up to work dressed in shorts. And again, it's the way I work, but this is my job. It's okay to do that. And he's, he's inarticulate and like a fool, a bumbling fool. Like, he's a pity case. Like, people feel sorry for him. Even some of my viewers say they feel sorry for the guy, right? And so, this is what we're dealing with here. If you're that broken, you shouldn't be in a position where you're making decisions and being a part of a federal government that has trillions of dollars and, budget and debt and all these things to deal with. But I'm glad he is, because it shows you everything that I say about the government. It just proves me right. The way Trump proves me right and Jojo Magoo proves me right. They're just puppets. Like, you can put anybody in there in these so-called very important jobs. You wouldn't have Fetterman drive your kids on a school bus, somebody with those kind of conditions. You wouldn't have him be an air traffic controller, right? But he can be a senator. You wouldn't have Jojo Magoo or Trump do those jobs, but they could be president, right? So it just shows you what a joke it is. But here's what I wanted to show you. Maybe this isn't. The lovely tradition of Senate spouses. Oh, there's there's Dougie Fresh, and there's Jilly Jill, Dr. Jilly Jill, I might add, and they're sandwiched. They've made a witch sandwich here. And then here, these are some other. Look at this crazy lady back here. She's got the Illuminati eye going here. So there's that. This was a picture here too. Like, she's just all over the place. She's living her best life as a famous person. It doesn't matter that her husband's like a inarticulate boob who can't do his job and is depressed. She's just out there just, loving life as being married to a famous person. She's big about the firefighters here. But then there was this from this guy. There he is going back to work. There he is with the abortionist health care. We cannot keep playing with the livelihood of millions just for the GOP to try and turn the screws on hungry Americans. POTUS must consider invoking the 14th Amendment. There he is in his proudly displaying his, saying there's the same thing. They really like this this promo ad here. So that's the Fettermans. Want to be inside the Situation Room with Secretary Hillary Clinton? This is a fairly recent video, March of 2023. So 2 months ago.
Oh my God.
What is it?
It's Hillary Clinton. She's running.
Wait, running with Fetterman from a bunch of villagers with pitchforks and torches?
What? What? Hillary's running again?
I know. I heard that's so crazy. This is wild. She's running again. Here I am.
That wasn't her.
Wild. She's running again.
That's not her. Look at her.
Here I am.
She can barely walk. We've seen her. Yeah, I've got multiple clips. I'm not going to show you I got it somewhere, where she's stumbling down the stairs, and but there's all these clips of her, and she's having problems, fainting and walking downstairs and all these other things. And here she is running into the thing. This is great.
Hillary, you're running again.
Well, I sure am, Karen. I just got here early for the new class we're teaching together on foreign policy decision making.
Classes don't start until September.
Yeah, but I wanted to be prepared, Karen. When it comes to crisis
I might not last that long.
situations, you've always got to be prepared.
Prepared? I think you're more prepared than anyone to teach this course. Now, what are we going to call it?
Inside the Situation Room.
Yes. And I'll cover the theory of political decision-making and strategy.
Mm-hmm. And I'll cover what it was actually like in the room during the bin Laden raid, the Iran sanctions, the Gaza ceasefire, you name it.
Okay,
Exactly. She was in the room.
but are you ready for whatever questions the students throw at you?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Like, is it any of those things false flags?
Now, if you'll excuse me, Karen, I've got to run.
You heard the secretary. If you get inside the Situation Room, come prepared.
Wow, that's so bad. All right. Okay, so I've covered Jen Psaki and her new thing where she goes about the Washington, D.C., and she meets with people in the most pretentious locations trying to humanize them. One was a bagel shop, another was how some Generation Z, the youngest guy in Congress, likes his lattes. I mean, just ridiculous stuff, like totally failing and trying to humanize them and making a connection.
It's been a long few days as we follow the developments out of the district attorney's office in Manhattan. So it's probably safe to say that Andrew Weissman hasn't gotten much sleep since the news of Trump's indictment broke on Thursday night.
Exactly. Andrew Weissman.
The former lead prosecutor under special counsel Robert Mueller, he's become the go-to legal analyst for just about every show on this network. And
this network gets lots of views and lots of people are interested in it.
if you're like me, you've probably wondered about his beautiful apartment in New York City, including that crazy staircase.
I don't think anybody wondered about that.
It's become kind of a famous thing on Twitter. I recently had a chance to stop by to check out his place and to hear about his weekend routine.
She's just so stiff. He's got an elevator. He's coming up at his elevator.
Hey, Andrew, thanks for having me over. We see you a lot on television in your apartment.
Yeah, here. Yes.
I know.
Yeah, here.
This is like the expanded room raider moment, right? To see a little bit more.
Oh, wait. So this.
These are the stairs.
Yes, these
the
are the
famous
stairs. That first of all, I think everyone thinks they're like, a third of the size.
Hey, Andrew, turn down this testosterone, okay, buddy?
It's because people are like, how could you possibly walk on them?
When we see you on television, we see a lot of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about your camera collection.
Some of this was mine, so it was like that
Were
was
some
an
of
old.
these your parents? Did they also have?
Yeah, so that was my parents' camera, and then this was my camera.
He's a hoarder. He's a clutterer, right? Collecting all these useless things.
Can we just have a moment on the inscription here, which is to Andrew Weissman for your dedication in combating foreign bribery, which is a bat, which feels.
You mean he's going after Hunter and Jojo Magoo for their foreign bribery, or is this about something else?
Extremely badass.
It's badass. Of course, there's their pretentious lattes they're going to make or whatever.
I'm going to be a barista.
So, Andrew, when you wake up in the morning, does the dog get the first dibs on what you do?
Totally. There's no sort of hanging out in your pajamas and having a cup of coffee. That dog goes crazy.
First thing, no coffee first.
No.
It's crazy. He's so human now. He's so like everybody else.
Coffee first.
It's
Are you
actually
kidding?
impressive. I need coffee before I breathe.
Me too. So I turn my coffee machine on, and if I don't take the dog to the door, he's there barking like crazy because he knows it's me.
He's ready.
So it's my time, and he's really good during the night, and then it's like in the morning, it's like me time.
When I have the MSNBC on in my office, I feel like every time there's breaking legal news, I see you on there explaining.
Exactly. Breaking legal news. This guy, he's such a great legal mind. I mean, again, turn down the testosterone there, buddy, though.
It to me. Are you just waiting for your phone in your pocket to buzz with something breaking?
Well, it's interesting. So one of the things about being a legal analyst is you do really keep up with what's going on.
You have to, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's
And
part of your job.
how do you do that? How do you read news, or how do you keep up with it?
It's so interesting because, I grew up in New York. And
Okay, it's not that interesting. In fact, it's not interesting at all. We have seen Hillary Clinton. She's quite the runner. All right, that's enough for today. I'll do more a couple days or 2 days from now. Okay, I just want to go revisit what I was talking about in the introduction to this thing about YouTube and Google. And whether they like it or not, well, they don't like it, but it's a reality. We are a demographic, people who don't subscribe to the official story, people who don't trust the government, people who don't trust the media, people who don't trust pretty much anybody in power, Hollywood, wherever it is, right? And there's different versions of us. There's, people on the left, people on the right, people who don't believe in the left-right or believe in the left-right paradigm. I mean, there's all these different versions of that. But, we have one thing in common is we don't believe the official story. And there's lots of people who dabble in this or are interested in it. And, there's people who take it really a lot more seriously or whatever. But either way, we're a big demographic. It's well over 50% of the population of adults in America. And, it's a growing sentiment as the people who watch mainstream media are dying out. And then there's the people who get their information from the internet. And we're an active group. There are people who participate. They're not as passive as other groups. People in the overall truth community go out and do things, go out and say things, go out and spread the word, are more activated, more dynamic than the so-called sheeple. And will spend their money, right? And are looking to spend their money at places that align with our belief system, or at least open to it, and not treating us like they are, like we're second-class citizens, because we don't buy the official story. And they have no choice but to do that. Because the more people who don't buy into the official story, the more that the sooner the system will collapse, right? The more easily it'll collapse. So, I understand why they're doing what they're doing, but it's not a winning strategy. It's not something that's sustainable on their end. They can't put the genie back in the bottle or whatever it is, right? They can't put the truth back in the bottle. They can't, stop this growing movement. They'd have to shut down the internet. Even then, it would go on in some way, shape, or form. And so there's no way to reverse what's happened here. And they need to, adapt, but they suck at that, right? And so their choice is to ignore or to belittle or demean or just, try to deplatform and silence. And none of that's working. It just makes it spread faster. And their weakness and their their lack of confidence and their dysfunction, their incompetence is showing. I mean, this is what I dealt with today. And not that I don't think this was targeted at me because I was a truther, just they're not able to run their system anymore. They've lost control of their AI. They've automated everything. There's very few humans, and the humans are kept stupid and powerless, right? Like humans can't reverse this error that their bots have made. Their bots have said that I used a credit card that was a suspicious payment, and there's no human in place to correct this bot's mistake. And I'm not the only one they've made this mistake with, and you're pissing off people who are spending money on your platform. And, this is your customer base. And the people I dealt with were semi-rude, or they were, kind of really rude, disrespectful. And, I had a bad experience with the whole thing, right? You heard some of it, and the other part, the other hour I spent yesterday was even worse. But anyhow, we'll see how all this plays out. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paramount, definitely important for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.